Good morning, everybody. This morning, I wanted to give you a prophetic word that God gave me back in January 28th. Yes, that's right, January 28th. Back in January 28th, in the morning, I was sitting down with this book that I write prayers in. Once in a while, I'd be inspired to write some prayers or some things to God. And that morning, God had bringing me to Isaiah 2, verses 6 through 22 and Isaiah 13. And after I read those, that was on January 5th. And on January 28th, I went back to those verses, which I had marked in my Bible. And God had told me to write this down. So after I read them, I wrote all of this down. So I first got the verses, Isaiah and the two Isaiah verses, I got them in January 5th. And then I was supposed to write all this down January 28th. So I wrote all of this down. As you can see, I was writing so fast with my pen that some of the words I didn't know what meant after I wrote it. I was like, what word is that? Because it's so sloppy. I mean, I was just like scribbling so fast because it was just, my spirit was just going. So I put it to the side and I said, okay, I wrote it down. It's down. What do you want me to do with it? I'm going to be careful because I'm really careful about timing. I know everything is about God's timing. And I just put it away. I didn't read it. I didn't go back to it. And last week was when I realized that God was calling me to do this. And he gave me a prophetic word in the Bible that it was time for me to do this. I had a couple of scriptures that morning and I knew what he was talking about. So I went ahead and I took all of this and I went back and I read it and I put in the words because of some words I didn't know. And that's what happened here. So that's in my book. So what I did was, in order to read it to you on camera today, I had to put it on my tablet in text because it's still a lot of scribbles and I still have to have some trouble reading it from the script. So that's why it's here in the text. So that's what I'm going to read for you today. And let's get on with it. You can hear. For those that don't want to hear, don't hear. It's up to you. All right. So this is a prophecy of January 28th. I call it a prophetic word. It's not fortune telling. It's not anything other than it's coming from the word of God based on what I read in Isaiah 26, 2, 6, 22 and Isaiah 13. So here we go. The people of this great nation have abandoned God and have turned to false idols and superstitions from Eastern influence of the world. They have joined hands with Eastern culture and are accepting of their bribes, whom they bow down to. They continue to accept those bribes, and that's all the work that they do. But they will be brought low and regretting what they have done, but do not forgive them. They will need to hide their shame and their sins of corruption from the fear of God, and how he will show them his power and might. They will have no pride, and the Lord will display their shame on that day. Their day is coming for them that did not fear the Lord, but instead worshipped other false idols of corruption and deceit. They will be sorry and will not be able to hide from the day that the Lord will rise up in anger. They will try to hide behind a fortress, but the Lord is mightier than their mammoth fortress, and those idols will disappear. They will try even to hide in bunkers, where the Lord's anger will rise up against them to show the world God's might and power. In that day, all their idols will be worthless, and they will be discarded from their own vermin. They will attempt to hide when that day of God's vengeance. Sorry, I lost my place here. They will attempt to hide when that day of God's vengeance shakes the earth. But they will soon learn they cannot trust man who looks out for his own interest and has no value to them. It's raining in the skylights. You can hear the water falling on the skylights. So those that have been waiting for the Lord will rejoice with triumph. Tell those that have not believed to come onto your side. Listen to the great multitude that is preparing its way for war. They will come up to join to destroy what was built. Cry out to God to save us from that day that draws near. The people will be shaken in unbelief, and they will be saddened by what they hear. Unbelief will strike their hearts when their streets are empty from God's vengeance. Those that attempt to turn against God and their darkness will be seen, but the sun will shine a light to the darkness that attempts to infiltrate its evil and its evil ways. Those that did not and would not believe will now be humbled. They will turn to God more than ever before when they shed their pride in that day. Their hearts have dropped and their faces red from shame. They will attempt to return to their families and home, but they will be captured and they will be put to death. Their children and their families and their homes will be ransacked for evidence, and their legacy will be no more. Those that care for truth and justice and not bribes will bring those people down. These evil ones that defile children and have no mercy on the pain and suffering for those children. The nation of God has tolerated pridefulness and unbelieving of its wickedness. They have all allowed the wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah, who will not be allowed to inhabit. No wicked God will be allowed to stay there, and no good souls will be allowed to accept this wickedness. But they will still be there in Sodom and Gomorrah. Like jackals and hyenas, they build their dirty, dark places at night and laugh at what is to come. They celebrate what they think they will accomplish in the burning of this palace. Their days are coming soon. And I just want to say here that in this part where he said Sodom and Gomorrah, what I wrote in my book, I didn't tell you here, but I wrote DC, White House, and Capitol. So there was a vision that I got there about Sodom and Gomorrah is what's at the White House and the Capitol. There's something about Sodom and Gomorrah there. And also, when I got this part here of this burning palace, I did not know. I researched that when I rewrote this. I thought, what is that burning palace? Because I thought it could be the White House. And evidently, the White House, and I didn't know this, I just researched it when I typed this up this week. It says that the White House is the president's palace. So, because I was concerned about whether Mar-a-Lago was considered at one point a palace, but evidently it's the president's palace is the White House. So I don't know what's going to happen here. Don't be surprised if there's some type of burning in Washington with one of the buildings, which is either the White House or the Capitol. I don't know which one exactly, but I know that God is angry. He's angry with what's going on. He sees what's going on. But their day is coming. The day of judgment is coming, and they won't be able to get away from it. So with that said, I thank you for watching and listening to me today. God is a wonderful God. I'm so grateful that he gave me this word to give to you, give you some hope for the future. And I don't know what God's timing is for all of this. I just know that this was my timing to get this out. This I wrote January 28th. It is now April 19. And this was the day that I'm supposed to put this out right now. So the rest is up to him. I've done my part. So I thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. God bless and take care. Bye.